Hello, I'm Forrest Shaw, and I've got a problem. Coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Beep, 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 beep. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Another fun podcast episode. I always say fun, but is it fun? I don't know. We're talking about addiction. Sometimes it's fun. Today it was fun. I've already recorded with my guest, Al. And even though we talk about serious topics, we had a good time. And if you are new to the podcast, please rate the podcast, leave comments. Please leave comments on YouTube or Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to the podcast or watch it. And if you're interested in coming out and seeing me live, go to forestshaw.net on my website. I got all my dates coming up. I'll be in Las Vegas all of next week, Monday through Sunday at the Comedy Cellar at the Rio, 2 shows a night. Please come out to one of those and check me out. The week after that, I believe it's the 25th and the 26th. Yes, I will be in Boise, Idaho at the Lounge at the End of the Universe. And then in October, I will be in Texas. I'm going to be in Plano, Texas, which I believe is Dallas, and Austin, LaGrange. I'm going to be in Austin, several different places. Trying to remember what else I have shows in Texas, but it's on my website. And then I'm on my way to Florida, to Sarasota and Key West and Miami and Boca and Fort Pierce and Almirada and yada, all sorts of places. Come check me out there as well. If you feel like donating money to the podcast, go to the my website, forestshaw.net again. And on the podcast page, I have a little donate button right there. People have sent me money. I always appreciate that. You do not have to send me money. The podcast is free. I know, because a lot of people are addicts. You don't have a lot of money because you're recovering and trying to get better and trying to get your life back in order. So not necessary, but if you're so inclined, much appreciated. If you feel like calling in and leaving a question or a comment about the podcast, it is 305-563-7264. That is 305 Joe Rang. Don't ask me why, but that was the only words that could come out with that. +1 country area code is from America. Number 1, America. I don't know why I did that as a bad Borat impression. And like I said, I have my buddy Al Jackson on, I think for the 3rd time. I think this is his 3rd time on the podcast. I have not asked him the 8 lucky questions yet. So that is what I did. I thought that usually takes 10 or 15 minutes. It took us the whole podcast, which is awesome. Kind of just weaved in and out of those and jumped off of those questions and found fun stuff and interesting stuff to talk about. Al is one of my favorite people in the world, and I really love talking to him because he's very insightful and has a unique perspective on the way he views the world and things and addiction. So I hope you enjoy the episode. I'm sure you will. I will see you on the other side. Thanks for being here. All right, I'm here again with my good friend Al Jackson, coming back on the I've Got a Problem podcast. Today he is cosplaying as the guy's name I can't remember on Different World.
Wait, what's his name?
Dwayne something.
Dwayne Wayne.
Was it Dwayne Wayne?
I think so, wasn't it?
What is this new look you have here? Are these
This is the I got up super late. I've slept in weirdly like the last 2 days. Like I wake up at like, I don't know, 8, and I've slept till like 10 o'clock the last 2 days. I don't know if I'm depressed or what. Probably.
Or you're tired, but you could be depressed. I don't know.
Yeah, old man River over here. Let's be honest.
You can find Al Jackson on Instagram at Al Jackson IG, and on YouTube, his handle is Al Jackson at Al Jackson, which is good. You got that right, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh no, it's Alan Jackson is the tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's it's like if you decided to name this podcast The Fast and Furious, it's it's gonna make it harder to search for it. So yeah.
Do you think there's a Fast and Furious, like a podcast dedicated to the Fast and Furious out there?
Yes, and they definitely didn't think about that. And even though they have great content, like no one can even the people that follow the show and use the link still get sent to a trailer for a movie. They're like, I'm your girlfriend. I want to watch your pod. I can't.
Oh wait, you think that there's a Fast and Furious podcast that's not related to the movies?
Absolutely. Or just somebody, you also have to remember not everybody knows everything. I've always thought about like there's got to be a couple 100,000 people in this country that ranch in Wyoming that have never heard of Oprah. Like there's some people that just don't know certain things. So there's like a guy that like fixes up, sports cars, old sports cars in his barn and has no idea that movie ever existed. Nobody, and so he's like, I got an idea. My son said we should start a podcast. We're gonna call it The Fast and the Furious. He's got a
Well,
podcast called The Matrix. Yeah.
I'm also starting one where I just like things that are really big, so it's me called Titanic.
Yeah.
Um, a quick Google search. There are many podcasts dedicated to just the Fast and Furious franchise. Many. Like, in fact, there's one article that says best Fast and Furious podcasts. There's one called Too Fast, Too Forever. That one's not a very good title. So Fast, So Furious podcast. It's about family. It's one of the podcasts.
Well, at least I've never seen those movies, but I know isn't that a line from one of the movies?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, you've
Yeah.
never seen any of them?
No,
They're fun.
I don't have the time
You just
to
slept in
watch.
for 2 hours, 2 days in a row. What do you mean you don't have the time?
I have a problem with street racers anyway. Like I do. Like I have a friend. We have a mutual friend whose kid
Mhm.
was involved, and that same week, one of the audio guys on my old TV show, he got his Porsche smashed from the back and by a street racer that just kept going on the highway. A lot of street races happening Sunday night, which I didn't. I think in the movie they're always Saturday, but Sunday nights there's a lot of street race because obviously there's less people on the highway. I see them
First,
all the time. I would say I see them more often than I don't.
okay, first of all, I don't know if any of them have jobs in them. It's not clear what I was gonna say Gino Torretta, because that was the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, but I think his name is Dominic Torretta in the movies. But the first, by the way, I 100% agree with you with street racers. Anytime I'm like driving late at night and cars fly around, and I always think of our friends that we're talking about, or one friend that we're talking about. But it's funny that you said, because the first two movies are maybe about, or maybe three movies are about street racing, but then it becomes a complete, just nonsensical, unimaginable, just like John Wick level shit where you're just like, well,
Yeah.
none of this is happening. Like they're like,
Yeah, when I saw
they're
one car go from one skyscraper to another, I was like, "Yeah, I'm out on this."
oh no, there's a submarine attacking them. They fly out of planes in their cars. It's insanity. Yeah, it's
I,
it,
I
it but
mean,
it,
but
it
yeah, I'm sure it's entertaining. Let me
yeah,
just
yeah,
say
yeah.
that we all have our thing. If nothing else, I'm sure it is entertaining. It's just, as the kids say, it's not my bag.
Yeah, no, it's not good, but there's entertainment. Plus, you can hear that song. It's been a long time. All that.
With these
Addicts.
non-emotional men, it's like, yeah, it's like you. This is your Legally Blonde. It's just a movie you watch over and over again. You need to accept it, fellas. Men have feelings. You like
Did
Vin
you know?
Diesel, you like the family aspect, you like the fast cars, you like the hot, unattainable chicks that just hang around street races, even though they could be modeling somewhere. Yeah, it's just like you like it, and it's a good thing. You found something on this planet you like. Dig in.
Sounds like you're bitter about it. But did you know in Legally Blonde? Are you familiar with the movie Legally Blonde?
No,
Oh,
absolutely not. My girl
okay.
loves it.
Um, all right. Well, anyways, there's a character in Legally Blonde, if you've seen it, that is part of when she gets to Harvard Law School. He's like a real kind of dorky guy, nerdy guy, and he's part of like the legal team, whatever. And there's a scene where he's trying to like talk to a woman, and they're making fun of him because he's a dork, and so she just walks up and says, like, just interrupts and is like, I can't believe that you broke up with me. You gave me the best sexual night I've ever experienced, whatever. And then slaps him in the face and walks away. Is like doing him a favor, because then when he walks away, the two girls are like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, because this hot girl just slapped him and just said,
Yeah, she
so
leveled them up.
yeah, that guy, his name is, oh my God, it's Anthony Perkins' son, the guy that played Norman Bates in Psycho. And I forget what his first name is, but it's something Perkins. And he's a director now.
Kendrick.
And he directed a movie called The Monkey, which is like based on a Stephen King short story, which is hilarious. It's a hilarious horror film that came out last year that you should watch. But anyways, fun fact. All right, let's get into it. I wanted to ask you because you've been on the podcast before. I have I'm all over the place. I have 8 lucky questions that I haven't asked you before. This is a new thing I'm doing on the podcast. I've had you on 2 other times before that I asked the 8 same questions to my guests that are addicts, because I've had a few authors on, and I'm having a psychologist come on in a couple episodes. So I'm going to ask you these first, not at the end. We're just going to get them out of the way and do them. These are 8 lucky questions. Why 8? Do you ask, Al? You didn't ask.
I was gonna. It's very strange.
It's because I've explained this before, but it's because this is a very lucky number, primarily to when I've been gambling, to Asian people when they've been gambling. 8 is a lucky number. At least that's what I've been told when I've been sitting at the table with people from China, and a lot of Chinese people told me that. So I just made it like that. I made a gambling thing. Also, it was hard to think of these questions, and it was struggle to get to 8 because I wanted them to be good. And so it's hard to
Question
find
9 or 10 was like, "Do you like stuff?" And number 10, hot chicks. Am I right?
How do you feel about the Fast and the Furious franchise? All right, first question is, what's a small thing someone did that helped you more than they know? It's all in
You
regards to addiction.
a small thing someone did that helped me.
Yeah.
There's a couple. I think just the initial, whether he knew it or not. When I was touring with a friend of mine, a comic who had stopped drinking for a time, but up until then was like my drinking road dog. When he stopped drinking, I found myself I would hold off. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop too." And then when he would go on stage, I would pound drinks. And when he would get off stage, I would try and act like I wasn't drunk, which I probably was, which I definitely was. And that helped me to show me like that I was ashamed of what I was doing. You're hiding it on a tour. Clearly, he didn't care. There's a ton of booze in the green room, but I cared what he thought about me. And I had to have that realistic, like, "Oh, you're sneaking drinks on a comedy tour. How'd that happen, buddy?" It just was telling me that, like, if you're proud of what you're doing, you don't need to hide and sneak around. I don't sneak around drinking LaCroix in the bathroom with the door locked and the sink going. You drink LaCroix out front because you're not ashamed of what you're doing. It's very simple.
It depends what flavor you're drinking. You might want to
Yeah.
hide if you're drinking key lime, you hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, key limes are horrible. I will say this though, I've made the joke that when I do relapse, it's not going to be the fun relapse that everybody gets to have, where you're like, I had 4 years and I said F it and I went to Vegas and the whores and coke. I know I'm going to accidentally relapse at a 6-year-old's birthday party, not realizing that the Topo Chico that I got was spiked. And so, like, I'm going to have the worst story in AA, like, how'd you relapse? It was Daniel's birthday. Yeah, because,
Yeah.
the sparkling water companies were like, oh, well, we can make some money. So there's like a Topo Chico spiked, and there's like all the sparkling waters also make hard alcohol to compete with like Mike's Hard Lemonade and White Claw and everything. And so there have been a couple times where I've opened when I've been like, oh, there's booze in this.
Yeah. Well, number 1, try not to relapse. Number 2, yeah, it's weird. One of the first beer company to make weed drinks was Pabst Blue Ribbon, that I can think of. They made like a Pabst Blue Ribbon weed drink.
How long ago was this?
It's been around forever, because I know our buddy Jim Jeffries used to drink it. I used to see him because he's, as the kids say, California sober. But for some people that would be, falling off. But also going back to what you said about I've known you a long time. I've known you obviously when you were drinking and everything else that you would get into.
Just say when
And
I was fun.
to, that is a classic Al move, where like even when you were drinking and owning that you were drinking, for some reason, you'd just be like, "I'm not drunk," but you would be, like, slurring your words, like, "I'm not drunk," like, and I'm like, "I'm looking at you now," like, it's not like you can't you're one of these people that thinks that if you just say it and people are looking at you stumbling around, slurring, that you're like, "I'm saying it, so I'm not," like,
Yeah,
so
that's
I already
called
know that move.
manifesting.
Yeah. I already know that move. When you would've gotten off stage, you'd be like, I'm fine." Like, it's like, "All right, dude." Um, if your addiction had a theme song, what would it be?
Uh, if it had a theme song,
Doesn't have to be
that
a theme song. I need to rewrite this question. If your addiction had a song that if your what song would be a theme song for your addiction? Is that a better way to say that?
yeah, I mean, I think I would go with Rick James' "Fire and Desire."
Mhm.
I'm I really do because I think that I looked at him as a person that I used to like to party, and the ups and downs of your night, the sobering and unsobering of yourself throughout the night, and the various substances that come in and out of your system. It's I used to really be passionate about hanging out. I loved it. I loved the random people that you would encounter. I loved the different cities. I loved every aspect about it. And I felt like that was the perk that you got from being an entertainer. I thought that was the whole point. Was like, oh, now you get to kind of like the spoils of victory. You had a good show. Now it's time to go rip it up. And I think that's why I at least really tried, even at the peak of my drinking, tried to make sure that my show didn't suffer just because, and selfishly, not because I want the audience to have a good time. That's crazy. I would want to have a good show so I could validate the fact that, like, hey, now I can get crazy. So yeah, that's it. That's it.
Fire and Desire. I don't even know that song. It sounds like the new Trojan condom that's out or
Yeah,
something, but
it really does. It's icy for her, but hot for you. No, it's it's with Tina Marie, and it's kind of like a ballad almost. But there's a lot of passion in that song, and I liked it because you could tell that the two people that were singing the duet with each other were definitely fucking, and I think that that's a big deal. Like there's an extra layer of emotion when there's real feelings there.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I do like that. Like Lady Gaga and what's his name? Tony Bennett singing duet, and I was like, I don't think they're fucking. Maybe, but
No, yeah, but Tony Bennett and who's the one that died? Amy Winehouse. I
yeah,
mean, they put some tracks together. What a talent we lost with her.
yeah. Speaking of
Speaking of
addiction,
addiction, yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, and I that's funny you say that because I was watching the documentary. There's several documentaries, but one of them about her, and it's just really sad, just because it didn't seem like anyone was really. Maybe she had like one friend. I think I remember I was trying to help her, but everybody else was just like, "Let's get this money," like that. Prop her up, put over here, like whatever.
Yeah,
She had
absolutely.
a lifelong love that wasn't doing her any favors either. Like kind of enabler, but
Yeah. Yeah, you come away watching that documentary saying if one person cared, this could have been avoided.
And then you see shitty comments that's like, "Yeah, but it's almost good that she died young because then, all these performers that stay around too long, they end up sucking." It's like, "Cool.
Wow.
I'm glad that is your outtake. That is your look like she's some sort of product that you
Why do we
enjoy."
still have the comment section?
I don't
Like
know.
what? You rarely every sometimes you'll get a chuckle when somebody's like legitimately funny or like has an
Yeah.
interesting take, but they're always just like more black on black violence. Who could have predicted this? And they're like so smug and dumb and no, it's just it reminds you of the worst of humanity, and I'm like, why do we still have this? I think um, the only thing worse in the comment section is the comment section after porn videos because there are people that actually write in there, and that's a different community. I mean, I guess it's very non-judgmental, but I've always been like, who is like writing right now underneath this video? But hundreds of people, turns out.
More than are leaving comments on my YouTube page for this podcast. So as a reminder,
Yeah,
rate, subscribe,
you
comment.
don't have a pile of human beings having sex in your videos. Maybe you should
Yeah.
read the market, read the room.
What's the dumbest excuse you ever told yourself to justify your addiction?
The dumbest excuse?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's dumb, or I think that it was probably a reason. I think that it's even worse than having a dumb one. You know, leaving my kids to go on the road was ripping my soul out of my body on a week in and week out basis. And I found myself drinking more and more, like the day, like if I had a 9 o'clock flight, because if I was going to get into town early, which I mean like on a Thursday, because I was going to do like afternoon Thursday, and then Friday morning press, you end up leaving at like on a 10 o'clock, out of LAX. And I would find myself starting to drink like around 5 or 6, just to start to numb the feeling when, my ex-wife would tell the kids like, dad's leaving tonight and he'll be back soon. Just like their faces, like it was killing me. And so
Mhm.
I would start drinking then. And then by the time I got into the Uber, there's this weird sense of like, all right, well, I'm over the initial, holy shit, that sucked. Now you get to LAX, you can find a place to drink. Before, I used to have Uber people take me to 90 West, and I take a shot before I went to the airport. Like literally, the Uber sit in the parking lot of the bar, and I go in there and take a shot if the bar was going to be closed before I got to the airport.
You could
But
walk there.
yeah, but then when you're in the car, you're like, well, I'm not about to just start drinking and then stop at 10:30. So we need one shot to get us to the airport. It's like 11 minutes, dude. And so,
Yeah.
I would I go in there. Sometimes the Uber drivers would take shots with me. I mean, it was a different time. It was a wild time, but all of it was brought on by me being unable to handle um the separation from my kids. It was eating me alive. And it was a big part of why I started drinking. And then that would just kick off a weekend booze fest.
Yeah. That's not a dumb excuse, by the way. That's the excuse, I think. That's like, no, I mean, it is a dumb excuse. I'm sorry. It's not like you were saying, I don't think there's a dumb excuse. Like, I think that is an excuse that a lot of people tell themselves, like, they can't function without this, like,
Right.
I can't do it without this. So that is not a real excuse because you know that you can. And one of the things that I think prolonged your drinking maybe, I mean, and it's all up to you when you want to quit and when you want to stop. It's not, no one, people can say things to you and it helps. Like you said earlier with your friend that you're on tour with, and you need that. You need that help, but you also need to be the person reaching out. Or sometimes people are just say things to you. Like, I've been starting to lose all this weight because I had a couple of friends, and one in particular that just kind of like sent me a text and just was like, yo, you gotta like, you're not doing well. Like, instead of people just being like, hey, making a couple jokes, like, you need to like get your shit together. Sometimes that's all it takes. But with you, you're a very charismatic, like likable person. And so I don't think you had a lot of people that would tell you like, hey, you got a problem. Dude, there was one time my mom, remember we went day drinking with my mom one time, which my mom did not want to do. She was currently a cancer patient. She would have some drinks from time to time, and she got some good news. And I don't remember exactly what the news was, but it was something that we went to celebrate. I think it might have been because nothing was ever in remission with her, but she had moments where she was doing better. Her particular type of blood cancer she had was not remissionable, which is not a word, but she was never going to go into a full remission. But she did have times where it was not active. That was the term that they used. And I think we got that news. And so we went to that bar, Corbett's, I think it was called.
Orbits, absolutely. In the corner of that plaza.
Yeah. And we were like, let's have a drink to celebrate. My mom's like, yeah, let's do that. So we went there at like 1. and we each had a drink. Me, you, and my mom sat at the bar. You remember this, right?
Absolutely.
And and then you were like, "Let's get another one," like, because you're an alcoholic. And I think my mom had one more drink, maybe half a drink, and then I had a drink, and then you had a lot more drinks, and my mom said something to me, not like, "Al's got a problem." She was just because she loved you. My mom loved you. She thought you
When
were
she
like,
said
oh,
that,
I
did you
mean,
say that's gonna be the name of my podcast?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but my mom loved you. She loved most of my friends, but she really loved you. And part of it was just because you're a charming, funny, nice guy, you know? And I think like just looking back on that, she didn't look at it like, hey, Al's fucked up. She was just like, you silly. And my mom wasn't one to like mince words. She would be like, I don't know about old Jackson there, whatever. So I think that was a detriment to you. Like you were too charismatic. Yeah.
Well, just it's weird, but it's like if you're a really bad drunk, the chances of you at least becoming aware of that quickly are it almost helps you. It's like if you have a disease, but it's latent inside of you, so it's better if like immediately you get a rash and there's a weird thing on your face and you go fix that. But my issues were masked by the fact that like people had a good time with me. So
Yeah.
it's not like, after a while, like I had to fight Al to get his keys in the parking lot. He's going to try and drive. That would drive people away from you. And that at least would eventually make it so that you felt abandoned by your friends. And you were like, well, if no one wants to drink with me, maybe I'm a bad drunk. It's the chances of somebody like having a legitimate argument against your drinking are m- much lower if they're continuing to drink with you because they're continuing to have a good time with you. So
Yeah.
that the fact that I was like a good time definitely added some years.
Yeah. Do
I
you feel
became
like
a
I should have
locker
said
room guy
something?
when I should have been cut years before, but I was like, he's a glue guy in the locker room. Keep him around. I was the Udonis Haslam of drinking.
Yeah. Do you think I should have said, like, do you look, not that, do you think I should have, but like, maybe I was just thinking about, maybe I should have said, I mean, I'm dealing with my own shit, like while you're going through your shit too.
Yeah, I think you
And
did. You definitely did a few times. I just like I wasn't ready to hear. If you're not ready to hear it, it doesn't. That's the thing. Until you are ready, it doesn't matter. You can have all the data. Somebody can have a spreadsheet with a flow chart, and it's on
yeah,
Canva. Oh, here's a pie chart that goes into a bar graph. Doesn't matter, dude. Until you're like ready to be like, hey, this isn't fun anymore. I need to figure out how to maneuver without this. You're gonna always have an excuse. Yeah, well, it's football season now. I'm
yeah.
not gonna get so. What am I gonna do? Watch Monday Night Football sober? Like that's not that sounded crazy to me.
Yeah, I do remember saying something to later on, but I mean initially, but I was drinking then too. I've never considered myself an alcoholic, but I was abusing alcohol. When I started comedy, I abused alcohol because I thought that was what I needed to help me get on stage, like,
Oh yeah,
but I don't, but I was always stopping. I remember I was be like, I'm done. And you'd be like, all right, pussy. I'm just like,
I stand by those comments.
like, I am done. I'm drinking water right now. Um, okay. What do you think is the worst addiction?
It seems like a heroin or benzos. I saw somebody that was addicted to benzo. I didn't even know what benzos were. Uh, but I saw somebody that was highly functional, and I saw them disintegrate on them in a way that I don't know if this person is still alive, but
Mm,
dealing with them became impossible. And it's interesting because they were definitely addicted to them before I met them, but I didn't have any, cocaine addiction. I could have spotted that. Even heroin, I could have spotted that. But benzos are just like, I was like, why did you want to go to my place to take a nap? Like when I was at work, the first couple seasons at Daily Blast Live, before I lived in my house and I was in an apartment, she would just be like, "Can I crash at your place. Like, she had a legit day job, and she would just go to my apartment and she would just sleep for
Mm.
hours. And sometimes I'll come home and I'd wake her up. I'd be like, "Yo, it's 3 o'clock. Like, you should have left like 2 hours ago." She'd be like, but she was so. It was like waking somebody up, uh, somebody that hadn't slept in weeks up. Like it was like a process,
Yeah.
and I just didn't know what I was looking at or what I was dealing with. And then she told me, and then she went to rehab, and I guess it got a little bit better. But then the last time I saw her, she was at my apartment. She came to my apartment to give me 2 tickets to. She's giving me incredible tickets all to go to these crazy like, she gave me 2 tickets to go to like the All-Star game when it was in New Orleans, the NBA All-Star game. And like, I opened the passenger door of her SUV, and it looked like a grenade had gone off in there. It was just shit everywhere. It was shit everywhere. And I just remember, like, she was like disoriented. She's like, "Here," and gave me these 2 incredible tickets. And I said something, and like, as I was talking to her, she was already backing out, and she like drove. And I was like, "That human being should not be driving. That human should not be." I remember standing in the parking lot of my place going, the chances of her making it home are 50-50.
Yeah. Um, you know what? As you were saying benzos, I was thinking of a dumb joke about Mercedes Benz, but I also occurred to me, I don't know what benzodiazepine is. I've heard benzodiazepine and benzo, but I thought it was, you know what it is? It's a depressant drug. It's kind of like they used to treat anxiety, insomnia, seizures, muscle spasms. I'm reading this right now. So it's like in the same categories like Xanax, lorazepam, Valium, all that kind of stuff, but stronger, I'm assuming. Depresses
Yeah.
the central nervous system. I did not. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I think she was a person that was dealing with a personal trauma that was almost impossible to deal with. She saw a family member lose their life through and right in front of her, and it was
Yeah.
nobody's fault except probably their physician, and it happened in front of their child, and I think it fucked her up. I think that was the BCAD marker for her life, and I hope she's gotten better. It's hard. I weirdly like try to look her up like 8 months ago, and I couldn't find anything. She's one of those people that never had a social media presence to the point where it's weird. Like, there are people where you're like, how is there nothing on this person? Nothing. Like, no work pictures, no, there's like a
Yeah. I
old
know
ass
some people like
LinkedIn,
that.
and that's it.
I know some, I have a lot of friends that are lawyers that have nothing because I think there's certain jobs, maybe not in this person's case I'm not, but I think there's certain jobs where you just don't want to have stuff on there because professionally and legally things could be, like, I think those people, especially a lot of lawyers I know don't have anything online because they know the implications all too well of like just that
Right.
one Instagram live video where you're like, okay, well, your whole life's over. But
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, okay, I was trying to remember that your car. I think is your car clean now? Because you were saying her car was messy. Are your cars pretty neat or clean? Because you were a slob with your car.
Yeah, I think everything, once you stop drinking and then you realize that, like, probably your drinking was also suppressing, my dad definitely had OCD. I think I told you when I went to go clean out his apartment, it was like cleaning out like a CVS. Like, he had
Yeah,
everything lined up like you would find in a stock room or on shelves in a store.
yeah,
And not that everything in my life is super clean, but I at least fight to keep it fairly orderly, I think, just for my brain. And I think that some of the drinking as well was just like allowing myself to acquiesce to the chaos of just like your house is always a mess when you have kids and things are just messy. And I don't think I like that. And so I think one of the ways to get around is like, nah, just, yeah, there's 19 fries in the back passenger seat on the floor, but it's fine. Everything's fine, even though nothing was fine.
Do you remember when you got pulled over on the street by my house by the nicest cop possible? I mean, there's so many stories that we've heard and ones we haven't heard, specifically about black people getting pulled over by cops that don't end well. Do you know what I'm talking about? The story?
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
tell
I
me,
drove
what
past the
happened.
cop and he busted the craziest U-turn. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was right on. Yeah, I know exactly.
You're on my street still. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was coming back to your house.
Oh, okay. And didn't you have like stuff like the flask or some weed or something in the
I think I definitely had a flask. I stayed with a flask. Yeah, it was like every day a friend of mine was getting married. That's how I
yeah.
was with my flask. I just kept them on me, taking
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
pop throughout the day like an old black janitor.
And he was just like he tell you just go home or something like
Yeah,
that,
he was
right?
just like, "Where?" Yeah, I think it was a combination of like him feeling sorry for me and him hopefully being towards the end of his shift, where he's like, "Would you? I'm not. Would you just go right there?" Because I was like, "I'm going right there." I think I was able to, and they was like, "Just
Yeah.
go there and stay there and sleep it off or whatever the hell's going on with you."
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I never. I mean, it sounds terrible. I never. Let me not even say that. That situation, I was not in bad enough shape where he should have like he would have felt the impetus to like pull me out of the car, but he damn sure could have and would have been justified in doing it.
Sure. What one word would you use to describe your addiction?
Um just nagging. It was just always there. It was just always something that like I had to think about. It's like, oh, you just landed in Atlanta. Do you want to get a drink before you go to baggage claim? Up, just checked in. Do you want to go get a drink before you go up to your room? It's just like it's just always there giving me options to waste my time and waste my money.
Yeah.
I never felt like, oh, I missed my kid's graduation because I was drinking, or I missed Thanksgiving, or made a scene at Thanksgiving, or anything like that. It was never that kind of addiction. It was more quiet and just like, dude, do you want to? Yeah, okay. Granted, we're at the Marriott bar, and this scotch is going to be $19 plus tip, and you're not going to get drunk, but you really just kind of need one. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to take that up to the room and we're going to drink by ourselves while we unpack and watch Sports Center at 5:30. It was just always there and annoying. It wasn't even kind of almost like we were talking about earlier with Amy Winehouse, where it's like a fireball, where it's just like you're partying all the time and it's just chicks and tour buses and booze. There was some of that, but mostly it's just maintenance. Maybe that's a better word. Just it was the maintenance of just being always somewhat kind of buzzed until you can get to the place where you're officially done for the day and now you can really get after it.
Yeah. Do you ever think about how much money you spent just at airport bars alone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because even though I always go, well, I haven't bought a drink in 6 years, so does that balance it out?
Oh, yeah. How many
There's
clubs
like
you in? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's I think the sober app, and it keeps track of like how much money uh that you've saved. I don't know exactly how they do that. It's based on like
Yeah.
your calculations, but yeah, I mean, I would have to download it, but I mean, I haven't looked at it in years.
And I don't
Uh
know what the gambling one would be. How does that work?
yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I think
It says sober apps can track money you saved with examples including I am sober and sober time, which offers features to monitor your progress. And yeah, so I guess it like estimates it based on like what you tell
yeah,
it, how you
you have
drank.
to
I
be
guess.
honest
Yeah.
about how much you were drinking. Let me see if I can download it real quick while we talk. Um because after a while, it's just like, I think, I used to look at the I Am Sober app, and I would be into that community, not into it, but kind of, I would comment and, just say things to people like, "Hey, keep going and you got this." But I
Yeah.
haven't looked at it in so long. But I mean, I think we got to find out, what does it think that it's saved me. But like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's like, if it's quantifiable. It's just like, because it was
No,
just
I just,
it was so
I,
much wasted money. It was just so much wasted money. I can't even imagine. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah, I'm looking at gambling ones too. I was just seeing if there's ones that could estimate that. I mean, there were years, so at certain casinos, they'll report your winnings to the IRS. So you have to balance that out, but with your losses too, you know? And so when you're doing your taxes, they'll ask you any gambling winnings. I don't know if they've ever asked you that, your accountant, like this year or whatever. Like,
No.
and so if you win like a jackpot on a slot machine, or if you win big or something like that, like they will report you with 1099s to IRS. Um, and that way, like if you're like a compulsive gambler like me, like you want to get like the cards for the casinos, because it'll monitor all of the money that you gamble in and out, and they give you a win loss report at the end of the year. So I have those. I have those on my computer that I would take to my account, win loss reports from, there were some years that I would be bringing them from like 25 different casinos, you know, like I would be like,
Yeah.
here's my win loss report. And it's all
What
the
was that
money in and out.
interaction with your tax guy like?
He's an idiot. It's like, he would just be like, whoa, big win. You're doing great this year. I'm like, I don't think you're reading this correct. Like just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because there was one year that I won on a slot machine, like a 6-figure amount on one win, one spin, right? But I also gambled way more than that and lost that during that year. You know what I'm saying? So I had to
Right.
show and prove that. So I had to like download these things, which those are very sobering. So when you're doing your taxes as like a gambling addict, if you are actually keeping track of that shit, which you should, otherwise you're gonna get fucked, Um, the win loss, it's not just like, hey, you're minus this for the year. It tells you this is how much you won and this is how much you lost. So there was years like where there was one particular casino where I won millions, but I lost millions. I didn't actually put, or maybe, I didn't put millions of dollars in, but I was winning, winning, winning. Then I would lose, lose, you know what I'm saying? But that's how much I was
Right.
gambling. Back where it got to like multiple millions of dollars a year that I won and lost.
Jesus Christ. What a
Yeah.
weird cycle this is.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but in the end you lose, in the end you lose for me, because I would have, I gave it to Goodwill at some point, but I had like this bag, like a specific bag that I had that I would put money in when I was winning it. And sometimes I would have like the bands of 10,000s. I would have stacks of those in that bag filled, where I could like buy multiple cars or put a down payment on a house or something like that. But I didn't do that. I just kept it in there because that was like, the same reason you would buy a bunch of alcohol and stock it in your house, or somebody would buy like that was, I needed that
Right.
money to
Your rainy
gamble.
day.
Yeah, that wasn't money to be spent on anything else except gambling. That was to feed my addiction. So I wish someone would have found it and like just been like, what is this? Okay.
Yeah. I
What are you doing
invested
with
this
it?
for you.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have mattered. Like you said, like we talked about though, it's all, you look back at that kind of shit and you're like, it doesn't matter. So, what one word would you use to describe your recovery? This is a 2-part question. So it's technically 9 lucky questions, but what one word would you use to describe your recovery?
Relief. I mean, I was so done that when I made the call, like the night that I decided to stop drinking, I was so done that I have a feeling it's how people leave the life, whether they're a cop or a stripper or a drug dealer or a middle school teacher, where it's just like one kid goes, "Fuck you, old man." And normally you're like, "Oh, I'm going to kill this kid." But like when you go to the tried and true method of how you handle the situation. You're like, I don't have it, I don't care. And like those people that just walk off the job and you're just
Yeah.
like, and they're never seen again. That's how I was with alcohol. I was just so done that I knew once I went to bed that night and got up and after it had cycled out of my system, I didn't ever have to feel like that anymore. I had gotten rid of the myth that like, well, this is just how things are. You get fucked up at the airport at 5 o'clock and people still laugh and you're still charming and witty. Like I knew I didn't ever have to do that and go to a bar and sit there and just make talk to some dickhead next to you that's just like, Tom Brady sucks and he's gay. You're like, what am I talking to this guy? Like you just be like, why am I in the same county as this dude? Why am I around these people? I don't find them that interesting. I don't find this place uh to have that much appeal that I want to be in here. And then after a while, it's just like, oh, I don't have to do this. And that freedom and that relief of just being like, I never have to sit in a bar again and, just listen to inane conversations or offer to buy somebody I'm never going to see again a drink. I felt so relieved. I was just done. It was like I had served my time in the military and I was being discharged.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your proudest moment in recovery so far?
Definitely helping the other men and women that came to me. I didn't realize like how many people want to quit because I didn't really want to quit until the night that I did. I had been feeling like that, but I hadn't really articulated because I think maybe if I said I want to quit and then I was unable to, it would have felt like a failure. So I just kind of like I took those feelings of like I don't think I want to do this, and I just continued to drink. But eventually, those feelings built up so much it was very easy for me.
Yeah.
And when I realized how many people wanted to stop drinking, but had different experiences. Some people had to stop drinking because their partner told them. Some people had to stop drinking because of like legally they were wearing an ankle monitor. Some people wanted to stop drinking because they had a kid coming. But all the people that I helped stop drinking, they were not homogenous in the reasons for why they were doing it. Everybody kind of had a different reason. People had different levels of commitment. People had different levels of anger towards you helping them. And then that eventually subsided and then they were ready. But when you start telling somebody that doesn't want to stop drinking that they might have a problem and they should probably chill out, the anger that comes back at you is real, dude. It's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Mr. Perfect, and you're like, oh, but you just realize that they're not ready to hear that, even though they know that they need to hear that. And years later, when you look at these people, because I probably helped over a dozen people get sober during the pandemic. What I did was it's weird. I had a friend call me, and we would just do phone calls, and then I had another friend that didn't know that friend and he would call me and I was like, well, me and this guy talk. You should get on our phone call. So eventually my boomer ass was trying to set up speakerphone meetings, even though I didn't even know that's what they were. And eventually we switched it over to Zoom and there's 4 people in the room, then there's 8. And, they all kind of kept up with each other, people that
Yeah.
never met each other. And then, I helped some women as well. So it was just a weird, non-planned thing. But once you stop drinking, other people are like, "Oh, that's interesting. How'd you do that?" Like everybody, especially at a certain point, is kind of at least curious to know, like, what is it like? What is it like to go to parties? What is it like to have sex? Sober, all these different things that for a lot of people they've never done, never contemplated doing.
Yeah. I was in I think I jumped on one or two. You asked me to come on one or two of those meetings
Yes,
and talk
I
to
did.
people one time. Yeah. Um, do you let me ask you this because I've been meaning to ask you this. So I know you mentioned it last time you were on, or one of the times you're on, about ADD medication, Adderall, which some people that which you use and you use effectively to help manage your life. That's what you were saying,
Yeah.
Um, Do you worry about that at all, being an addict? Like something that other people, because people are addicted to Adderall, but they're abusing it and not using it because they're prescribed it and stuff like that. Or
Yeah,
is that something you think
no,
about?
I think it would have been abused had I still been drinking, because Adderall in conjunction, with depressants like alcohol or weed will keep you up. And I think, was it Craig Ferguson that said that brilliant thing that people do cocaine so they can drink more? Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of times you take stimulants, especially when you're past the age of 26, to stay awake so you can keep partying.
Yeah.
And I know that I would have been, out somewhere like, "Hey, what's up, girl? You want to do some Adderall, and then we can keep this party going all night." Uh, which is the nerdiest way to do that. But when you just use it as it's prescribed, it's just a tool so that my nerdy ass can continue to edit, can read a chapter in a book and remember what I've read. It's like you can use a crowbar, for legal or illegal means, and a square guy would have no idea that, like, oh, you can also pry open a bank vault with this. He'd be like, no, I use this on my farm. I had to get the fence post out of the ground. Like, he doesn't, when you're using it
Yeah.
the right way, all the ways that you could abuse it don't cross your mind. It's like, yes, you could use a bike lock to lock up your bike after exercising. You could also hit someone in the head with it inside of a sock and take their wallet. It's the same bike lock, but it's the person using it that determines how to be used.
Why is it in a sock? I don't think you need to put it in a sock. Just keep
Yes,
it
you
out.
do, so
No.
you can swing it, dude. You gotta
Why
put
just
that.
put it on a chain? Oh, you just put the lock in the sock. I thought it was on a chain and you spent, yeah.
Do I need to tell you how to assault civilians first?
I thought you had it on a chain and then put the chain in a sock.
No, no,
Like,
you just put it in the. I mean, if you got a chain, you're all set for a 1971 gang fight, which I was thinking
yeah.
about are way worse. Like, if you think about, like, it was a shootout and two people got killed. I mean, that really sucks. But probably if you got killed, you probably bled out pretty quickly if it wasn't instantaneous. Like, back in the day, like, I'm gonna go fight some guys. They got brass knuckles and bats, hand to hand combat. I want that's way
Uh,
worse to me.
I don't know. Yeah, if you're thinking of a bullet that either kills you or goes through your body clean, you're not thinking about the bullet that rattles around in your body 9 different directions and paralyzes you, and now you're just in a wheelchair. I don't think that's
Have you
great. I
ever?
don't think you're
Yeah,
feeling
what if
good.
somebody really strong punched you with brass knuckles?
No, none of them are good. I don't want any of it. I don't want a knife. I don't want a lock. I don't want a bullet. I want no
I always think
fights.
about that with, like, when you watch Braveheart or Game of Thrones. It's like, yeah, it sucks to be blown up by a grenade, but, like, what if somebody just hit you with an axe? Like, how does that even work? That
Oh,
just
yeah.
seems horrible. Or a
Yeah.
mace, that ball with the spikes on the end of it and the chain. That's way
Yeah.
worse than a gun.
And when the medics back then would run up to you, they had nothing. They had like a bottle of
Yeah.
whiskey and some sutures. That was it.
Yeah, they were like, some morphine. Where do you want it? Yeah, they put a cig in your mouth. That's not good.
Yeah. But according to RFK, that things were better back then. Before we had all this medical modern science.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, didn't mean to make it political, everybody. It's so political.
I
What's the worst? What's that?
I was just saying, I do like how, like, even when you address anything of the horrors going on in this country, everybody's like, I didn't want to get political. It's like, no, I like to have a CDC.
Yeah, his worm can't eat his brain fast enough. He's a fucking menace to our society. Which
I
great
was
movie.
thinking about what he said. He goes, I walk through the airport and I see on these children's faces the mitochondrial imperfections that's causing them, basically like attacking kids with autism. I'm like,
Yeah,
first of all, the mitochondria is inside of a cell, which is also tiny. So you can see
yeah,
mitochondria, you psychopath. Also, mitochondria is something that affects your genotype, not your phenotype. They don't manifest themselves where you can visually see it. but it's just like you just have people that haven't studied science talking to people that never studied science. And it's like, makes sense to me. I just the fact that we don't have a CDC anymore, it's it's all good until the bird flu comes and the information that they're giving you to avoid it is duck, you know? If you see the bird flu, you need that carb up and a lot of green tea. Like when this country is totally unprepared for anything,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Like you would think that we'd be prepared for one thing, nothing. So
Yeah.
anyway,
The the what was I gonna say? Next time you're sick, anybody listening to this, don't call your doctor, call up your lawyer and ask them what you should do, because that's what RFK is. That's who's running our health department, a lawyer. So our health of this country.
yes.
What's the worst advice someone gave you while you were struggling?
The worst advice,
Yeah.
it's what you usually get when it comes to bad advice is just people that tell you how to get out of things rather than like dealing with the present. Dude, what I would do if I'm gonna come home really drunk is I tell my wife I'm in the Uber and then I just tell her that the car canceled. That gives you a little like you get advice on how to like avoid the thing that definitely is. Like, if you're really drunk, dude, I go in the back door. My wife is asleep. I go straight downstairs. I turn the TV on and I say, I'm watching the fourth quarter. That gives me like 30 minutes to sober up instead of just being like, why are you why are you avoiding your wife? What's going on in your life where like you don't want your kids to see you? That's a very dire situation that needs to be addressed. But a lot of times the advice that you get is just like, the people that want to help you just don't understand you like I do. They don't understand me like you do. And so it creates this like kinship of alcoholics and people learning to hide things rather than just somebody like loving you enough to be like, "Hey dude, you're my road dog, but you need to go get this fixed because you're going down a path." And we've seen it happen to so many guys, and it's a tried and true path, unfortunately, but it's not one that sneaks up on you. You see the signs and you choose to address those signs or you blow past them and then you just see what's up.
Yeah. What advice do you have for someone that is struggling?
If you're struggling, that means that this isn't fun anymore. And that's the best place that you could be, honestly. When it's not fun anymore, it's very easy to it's hard to leave a party when the hot Latina bottle girls just came out with sparklers in the champagne and you're in VIP and somebody sends you a text like come home, you're like, oh, not doing that. But at the end of the party, when they're bringing the bill and the DJ is playing their, thanks for coming out song and the lights are starting to come up, if you're feeling that like that in your life, then you're in a prime position to leave. Don't wait till the lights come all the way on. Just like start to figure out that like everybody maybe in your world that still drinks, but most of the world doesn't, especially not like that. And everybody seems to be getting along just fine. And in a way that I hope people see this as a positive comment, you're not that special. And if other people have figured out a way to navigate this world without drinking, it means it's possible.
Nice. Usually I only take about 10 or 15 minutes to answer those. That took us about 45, which is cool. I like that. Maybe I should just ask those questions.
Yeah.
That's the whole podcast now. Now, I think some people answer them shorter than others, but I enjoyed the conversation where we jumped off of all those and stuff like that. We don't have really any time to talk about anything else.
Oh, well, can you give any less of an enthusiastic wind down for this podcast? Look, I guess that's it. Fuck it, right?
I'm not winding down yet. I'm not down. I'm not winding. But yeah. Do you want to discuss the University of Miami Hurricanes? No.
Ballin'.
Yeah. Al's a Ohio State fan. I'm waited to the end of the podcast to say that because everybody hates Ohio State except people from Ohio.
Not if you like winning. Not if you like tradition. Not if you
And-
like showing up in big games and doing what big game players do, which is handle
that's what
business.
Santana
By the way,
Moss said.
Arch
He
Manning
cares for
looked
Miami.
horrible. He looked terrible. Who looked worse, Arch Manning or Bill Belichick this weekend?
I think Bill Belichick. This comes out next week, so it's going to come after. It's going to be 2 weekends from now. But Bill Belichick's first game was, I don't know what he's doing. Like
I think
even if
he'd
you're
tell
not
you
in the
that.
sport, even if you're not in the sports and you're listening to this, like this is, I'm sure you know who Bill Belichick is. He won 6 Super Bowls. He could have just retired. He's got all the money in the world. I'm assuming, unless he spent it all on the 25-year-old woman he's dating now, which is possible. But it just shows you like that speaking of addiction, I mean, it's like, I think he's addicted to a couple of things. Obviously, I know working keeps you young and he's older, but I think his ego, I think when Tom Brady left, like
Yeah.
his ego of like, and I would argue that they wouldn't have won without each other. Like, it's not like no one's arguing that he's not a great defensive mind and he was good at person. So this whole, even though Brady won one without him, he went to a team that was ready to go, Brady, and,
Yeah.
but I think it's that ego and I think now you know what I thought when they were losing 41-7 or whatever, I'm sure he was just on the sideline like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Absolutely.
just like,
Absolutely. Were you
and I
just
know that
saying?
feeling. I know that feeling from addiction. I know that feeling from gambling. I'm sure you know it. Like I know you're just sitting there like, oh, now
You know what that game was the equivalent of, like, when you're in the throes of your addiction? The 41-7 Belichick was in was when you have a hotel room and then, like, some dude or some girl, in that city goes, "I'm gonna have a couple friends come over." And then, like, 3 people come over. It's one sketchy girl, and a gigantic dude of a varying ethnicity who's terrifying, and then,
it,
like, his friend that's just, like, on the phone and never says anything to you, and you look in your room and you're like, "What did I get myself into?" Like, you can't just, like, you just wanna walk out of your own room and be like, "Do whatever you want." Like, I've been in a situation where I'm like, "How did all these people get in here, and how do I get out of here?"
yeah,
And I think that's where Bill is. Bill is just like, I don't want to be doing this, but I don't think he knows how to do anything else. And now that his NFL career is over, because he is addicted to, let's be honest, he might be addicted to young women, because he's been this girl's been on him for a while, and she's
yeah.
gonna suck him dry. She is gonna get because she's gonna have, by the time that this splits, she's gonna either get him to marry her. I mean, she's gonna walk with one of the biggest bags of all time.
Yeah, but that's his decision. That's how he's decided to
Well,
spend his
he's
money.
got kids that probably don't want that. They don't want this chick coming in taking 2/3 of their, because right at the end she's gonna auto pen a couple amendments to that will.
Yeah,
And
those kids should have won Super Bowls if they want that money.
yeah.
They
And
should have.
to my kids, I bestow the gift of hard work. I'm gonna give Jordan the 3 boats and control. I'm sure she'll be fair. She goes, "Yes, daddy, I'll make sure they get exactly what they need." Yeah.
All right. Follow Al Jackson on Instagram, Al Jackson IG, and YouTube. His channel is at Al Jackson. Do not go to Alan Jackson unless you want some
Some
shitty
great
country
country
music.
music.
Wait, is he good or is he bad? Is he one of the good country? I
Yeah,
don't follow him country.
I don't
But,
know. I mean, he's got like 27. I looked up Alan Jackson just because I went down a rabbit hole because we share a name, kind of.
mhm.
Even though I'm Albert, he won so many country music awards that he refused to allow his name to be submitted
Oh, really?
because it was bro. He's like Mount Rushmore.
I know he's huge. I'm not like, I
I
mean,
didn't know how big he was, though. I mean, if you're not in that world, he's huge.
Yeah, I guess he's pretty old now, huh? I'm looking at him. Highly
He
successful.
he's
It
gotta be
says
old.
it says, yeah, because this is a video, but I can tell it's old. Like it's a music video of his, but I can just tell it's old because of the this way. He became a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 1991. So you have to like just to get accepted in that, you have to be.
Yeah.
Oh, in 2025, he concluded his touring career due to health issues, including battling Charcot-Marie tooth disease. What the fuck is that?
Well, you gotta look that up. What is that?
I am. I'm not just dropping that and saying good night, everybody. Like I'm putting it in the Google right now.
I've
Poor
got
guy.
Sean Connery tooth disease.
Yeah, Charcot-Marie tooth, which is like all hyphenated. So I'm assuming tooth is a person. CMT is a group of inherited nerve disorders that affect the peripheral nerves. Oh, this is already bad because I already know that. Like, which connect the brain and spinal cord to the rest of the body, is named after the three doctors Jean Martin Charcot, Pierre Marie, and Howard Tooth. I'm
It
just not
sounds
gonna laugh. Howard Tooth is a hilarious name.
it's weird. I was thinking about like this is random, but you want your name eventually maybe in a wall of fame on a
Yeah,
bench. You don't
yeah,
want your name after a disease or a law
yeah,
because if there's a law, there's like something bad. It's like forest law. It's like, oh, now everybody gets 2 phone calls from jail because like
yeah,
something horrible happened to you. Yeah.
yeah. But also his name is Howard Tooth, so it's kind of double whammy. So it's kind of like I guess neuropathy, which is tough
It sounded
motherfucker,
like
but
ALS adjacent.
surgery to correct foot deformities is treatment. You have to be in braces, wheelchairs, there's muscle spasms, and it sounds terrible. Shout out to Alan Jackson. Hope you he's got that just goes to show you can have all the money in the world and just some bullshit fucking happens. So live life to its fullest.
God, that sucks. You're just in a 28-room mansion and like you can't walk up the stairs and it just like that just sucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Al. Sure I'll have you on again.
All
And
right, brother. Yeah, let me know and let me know when this comes out and I'll promo it.
well, say goodbye first.
Oh, bye everybody. I love you.
All right, we're back. Thank you again to Al Jackson for being on the podcast. Also, thanks to you guys for listening, being a part of the podcast. Thank you for helping the podcast to continue to grow because I think the more the podcast grows, the more people will find it that need to find it. And hopefully it continues to help people. Thank you for the messages that you've written to me. People DM me and express their pleasure or their appreciation of the podcast. And those don't go unnoticed. I think I respond to all those. I try to. I do appreciate you. If you are feeling shitty, if you're feeling like you might harm yourself or you're suicidal or you need some help, call somebody, call anybody. If you're in America or Canada, call 988. That's a suicide and crisis hotline. Someone will help you out. And if you're in another country, go to Wikipedia. There's a list of suicide crisis lines that has all the crisis lines by country. You know how I feel about those numbers in other countries. Write to your congressperson or whoever the fuck, whatever the person is that you have, especially in Germany and Finland, and tell them we need shorter numbers. I'm in crisis. I am suicidal. I don't need to be remembering beep, boop, beep, 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 beep. Should honestly just be one number. Just beep. I guess that wouldn't work. Anyways, thanks for being here. I will see you guys next week. Love you all.